A woman with silver-flecked eyes, exiled for being different, finds her world upended when the wounded Lycan king collapses at her doorstep with a child in his arms. As ancient conspiracies threaten to tear them apart, she must choose between the safety of isolation and embracing her true power. What happens when the last of a feared bloodline discovers that her greatest weakness might be the key to saving two worlds? The villagers' whispers follow me like dry leaves blowing across stones. They never stop. Cursed, they say behind their hands, touched by the moon. My silver-spotted eyes make me different in a world that fears what it can't understand. I've learned to find peace in being alone, in my small house that sits on the edge of the dark forest like a stubborn dream. The herbs in my garden don't pull away from my touch. The black birds that nest in my roof don't spread stories about the woman who talks to shadows. Tonight, against my better sense, I went to the harvest party. A moment of weakness, a silly wish to feel the warmth of people around me, even if just for a heartbeat. The music pulled me in, golden notes floating through the night air like fireflies. I stood at the edge of the party, hood pulled up, watching children run through the bonfire's light while their parents laughed, cups of sweet spiced drinks warming their hands and loosening their tongues. That's when I felt it a stare heavier than winter ice settling on my skin. Across the dancing flames, a stranger stood still among the moving bodies, tall, strong, with eyes that shone like golden amber in the firelight. Unlike the others, his face showed no fear, only wonder. Maybe he knew me, though we'd never met. A chill ran up my back, both strange and familiar. Something old woke up inside me, answering his look like a song suddenly remembered. Our eyes met for only a moment, but in that tiny bit of time, the world around us seemed to blur and fade. His lips opened as if to speak across the wide space between us. I ran, back to my quiet home, back to the safe hug of being alone, my heart beating fast against my ribs. Yet even as I locked my door and pulled the curtains tight, I couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed forever. That night, the moon hung full and bright in the sky, and the wolves in the far mountains howled with strange sadness. I lay awake, listening, wondering why their cries sounded almost like they were sad. 3 days of heavy rain have turned the forest paths to rivers of mud and washed away all memory of the harvest party. Or so I told myself, though the stranger's amber eyes still visit my dreams. Tonight, the storm rages with wild fury. Wind howls through the trees like a hurt beast, shaking my shutters and making the fire in my fireplace dance wildly. I sit wrapped in my grandma's blanket, reading an old book on healing plants, when a sound cuts through the storm, sharp, desperate knocking at my door. No traveler should be out on such a night. No villager would look for me, especially in darkness. The knocking comes again, more urgent. Something inside me answers the need in that sound. I stand up, knife hidden in the folds of my skirt, and walk to the door. "Who comes to my door in darkness?" I call, voice steady, despite the quick beating of my heart. "One who seeks shelter from the storm." Comes the answer, a deep voice, rough with pain. "And one who needs your help more than I do." I wait, my fingers hovering over the lock. Then another sound reaches me, the soft cry of a child. The door swings open to show him the stranger from the party, now barely standing, one arm holding his side where dark blood leaks between his fingers. In his other arm, he carries a small shape wrapped in a cloak, a little girl no more than 5 years old, her face white as moonlight, eyes wide with fear. "Please," he says, swaying slightly. "Not for me, for her." His eyes meet mine, amber depths clouded with pain but not giving up. Behind him, lightning splits the sky, lighting up the forest where shadows move between trees, shadows too planned to be made by branches. "They're coming," he whispers. Kindness wins over care. I step aside. Come in then, stranger, I say, and bring your troubles with you. He stumbles across my doorway, the child held tight to his chest. As I move to close the door, his legs give way. I catch them both as they fall, their weight pushing me to my knees. The child's tiny fingers grab my sleeve. Help him, she begs, her voice shaking. He saved me from the bad men. As thunder shakes the very base of my little house, I make a choice that will forever change my lonely life. You're safe now, I tell her, even as I wonder if such a promise can be kept. You're both safe here. I help the tall stranger to my bed, the only one in my small home. The wound on his side is deep and angry, with edges that look burned rather than cut. This is no normal hurt. The metal that made this mark was meant to do more than cut flesh. The child first, he says through clenched teeth. Make sure she's not hurt. I check the little girl, finding only small scrapes and signs of being very tired. She watches me with big, dark eyes, not crying, just watching. What's your name, little one? I ask, trying to sound calm, though my heart still races from all that has happened. Lily, she whispers. Lily, I repeat, giving her a small smile. That's a pretty name. I'm going to take care of your friend now, all right? Can you sit by the fire and get warm? She nods, but doesn't move from the stranger's side. Her small hand finds his larger one, holding tight. Don't leave, she tells him, voice barely there. I won't, he promises, and though his face is tight with pain, he gives her a smile that seems to calm her fears. I keep my promises, little flower. Only then does she allow me to lead her to a chair by the fire, where I wrap her in a blanket and give her a cup of warm milk with honey. I return to the stranger, whose eyes have never left me, watching with a look I can't read. You have skills, he says. It's not a question. Some, I answer, gathering what I need to clean and bind his wound. Enough, I hope. Outside, the storm grows stronger, the wind screaming around my little house like the voices of lost spirits. Yet inside, as I begin my work of healing, a strange calm settles over us. 3, the outcast, the wounded stranger, and the child who brought us together. Days blend into nights as I tend to the wounded stranger. Fever grips him, sending him thrashing against bad dreams only he can see. The wound at his side fights against normal healing. A blade forged with dark magic struck him there. Yet I am not without secret knowledge forbidden to most. Little Lily watches me work with big, quiet eyes. She speaks little of how she came to be in his care, only that the wolfman saved her when bad people took her from her village. He told me his name is Alaric, she whispers one evening as we change his bandages. He said he's a king, but I shouldn't tell anyone. I smile at what I think is just a child's made-up story, born of fairy tales and the bad things she's seen. A king, is he? And does his kingdom have a name? Lycan, she says simply, with such belief that my hands stop their work. A strange word from the mouth of a child too young to know what it means. That night, as moonlight comes through my window, Alaric's fever breaks. His eyes open, clear and alert, finding mine right away in the darkness. You've been caring for us, he says, voice rough but stronger. At great risk to yourself. I'm used to risk, I reply, squeezing water from a cloth to cool his head. The villagers already think I talk with spirits. Hiding strange visitors will hardly make my name worse. His hand catches mine, surprisingly gentle for one with such strength. You have silver in your eyes, he notices. The mark of the moon touched. I pull my hand away quickly. So the scared people say. It is no made-up story, but a sign. His look is searching. You feel it, don't you? The pull of the moon, the whispers of the forest, the knowing that lives in your blood. Words I have never said out loud. Thoughts I have hidden even from myself. Who are you? I ask, though something deep inside me already knows the answer. Someone like you, he says. someone who has learned to live between worlds. In the days that follow, as his strength comes back, we talk of many things. I tell him of my grandma who taught me the old ways before fear took her from me, of the loneliness that has been with me always, of the dreams that come when the moon is full. He listens without judging, this man who calls himself a Lyric. He shares stories of far mountains and ancient forests, of a people who honor the bond between human and wolf, of a kingdom hidden from human eyes where the moon-touched are honored, not feared. Your grandma was one of us, he tells me one evening as we sit before the fire, Lily sleeping peacefully nearby. She left our lands to follow her heart, but her blood, your blood, calls you home. I have no home but this. I wave at my small house. You've made a safe place in your being pushed out, he says, his fingers slowly reaching for mine. But you were meant for more than just staying alive. When his hand holds mine, warmth spreads through me, new yet welcome. For the first time ever, I feel understood. For the first time ever, I feel found. The peace of our strange time together breaks with the dawn. Lily's scream tears me from sleep. I run outside to find her backed against the garden wall, a tall man standing over her. Alaric is already there, putting himself between the child and the stranger despite his still healing wound. You step where you shouldn't, Rorik. Alaric's voice rings with command. This place is under my care. The man called Rorik smiles meanly, silver flashing at his belt, a blade like the one that hurt Alaric. Behind him, 3 more shapes come from the tree line. The council sent us to take what belongs to them. Rorik's cold eyes moved to Lily, then to me, the child, and the moon-touched woman. Fear twists in my stomach. I belong to no one, I say, stepping forward to stand beside Alaric, and neither does the child. Rorik laughs, a sound like stones grinding together. Your not knowing shows you're half-blood, woman. The council has claimed you both. Even the mighty Lycan king must bow to them. Lycan king. The words shock through me. Alaric's hand finds the small of my back, steadying me. The council no longer commands me, Alaric says, his voice dangerously soft, and they have no claim on these two. Something shifts in the air around us. Alaric's shape seems to blur at the edges, his being spreading until it fills the clearing with power you can feel. When he speaks again, his voice has deepened to something almost not human. Leave now, Rorik. Tell the council that Alaric, king of the Lycan tribes, has placed his mark of protection on this place and all who live within it. Rorik's hand moves to his blade, but stops as Alaric steps forward. I cannot see Alaric's face, but whatever look it holds makes Rorik grow pale. This isn't finished, Rorik spits, backing away. The child is key to the seeing ahead. And the woman. His eyes lock with mine, hate burning in them. The woman should have been killed generations ago, when we got rid of the last of her bloodline. The words hit me like real blows. My grandma's warnings, her need for secrets, her desperate teachings before they took her all of it, suddenly makes terrible sense. As Rorik and his friends go back into the forest, Alaric turns to me. The golden glow of his eyes has grown stronger, pupils longer in a face that somehow looks both human and not. I've brought danger to your door, he says, voice rough with sorry. I never wanted. What did he mean about my bloodline, I demand. What am I to you and your people? Alaric reaches for me, but I step back, pulling Lily into my arms. You are the last child of the lunar priestesses, he says finally. Those who once bridged the gap between human and Lycan. Those who could bind our wild natures and speak right to the moon herself. He pauses, eyes searching mine. Those the council ordered killed when they took power a generation ago. And the child? What is she to the seeing ahead? Lily burrows against my chest, shaking. She is without blame, Alaric says firmly. But she saw the council's lies. They fear what she might tell when she's older. So you took her. I saved her, he says gently, as I had hoped to find and save you, though I never thought to find you living as a healer at the edge of my lands. A small smile touches his lips. Nor did I think I would be at your mercy, needing your skills. The truth of his words rings inside me. Whatever he is, this Lycan king who stands in my garden with the rising sun making his shoulders glow, he has shown nothing but care toward both Lily and me. They'll come back with more, I say, making up my mind. We can't stay here. No, he agrees, eyes darkening. We cannot. I look at my little house, the only safe place I've known since my grandma died. The herbs drying from the ceiling beams, the small bed where I've slept alone for years, the hearth where I've cooked my simple meals. All of it must be left behind. How soon must we go? I ask, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. As soon as you can gather what you need, Alaric says. The forest paths are still wet from the storm. It will slow them when they return with more men. Lily's small hand finds mine, her fingers cold with fear. I squeeze them gently, trying to give comfort I'm not sure I feel. Will the bad men take me away? She asks in a small voice. I kneel before her, looking into her eyes. No, I promise. I won't let them. Nor will I, Alaric adds, his hand coming to rest on her head. You have my word as king. The child seems to take strength from our promises. She straightens her small shoulders and nods. Inside, I pack quickly. My healing herbs, my grandma's book of remedies, a change of clothes, food that will travel well. As I reach for my cloak, I catch sight of myself in the small mirror above my washing basin. The woman looking back at me seems different somehow. The silver flecks in her eyes more bright, her face more sure. In just a few days, something has changed. I have changed. When I step outside, Alaric is waiting. He has found a walking stick to help with his still healing wound. Lily stands beside him, her small hand in his large one, trusting. Are you ready? He asks, his eyes searching mine. I look back at my cottage one last time. The morning sun turns its worn stones golden. The herbs in my garden wave in the soft breeze. Birds sing from the eaves. Yes, I say, turning away from all I've known. I'm ready. And so we three set off into the forest, toward a future I cannot see. The outcast, the king, and the child. Strangers days ago, now bound by danger and something else I'm not yet ready to name. We leave at sunset, leaving behind the only home I've known since my grandma died. Alaric leads us through the forest, by moonlight, along paths invisible to normal eyes. Lily rides on his shoulders, her small hands tangled in his dark hair, while I follow with a bag containing my most precious herbs and my grandma's books. The northern lands are safest, Alaric explains, as we rest beside a spring hidden among old oak trees. I have friends there who stay true to the old ways, who will keep you and Lily safe while I go back to face the council. The word go back hits me like a rock. You're leaving us? His eyes meet mine, sadness clear in their amber depths. I must. The danger must be stopped where it starts. You're still hurt, I argue, though I know it won't help. In the 3 nights of our journey, I've watched his strength return with amazing speed. His movements growing more smooth, more powerful with each passing hour. My people need their king, he says simply. The council has ruled through fear and lies for too long. What they did to your bloodline, what they would do to Lily, these are just signs of a deeper sickness. Lily has fallen asleep between us, her small body curled trustingly against my side. I stroke her hair, this child who has somehow become dear to me in so short a time. What will happen to her? To us? Alaric reaches across the sleeping child to touch my cheek. You will be safe among the northern tribes. And when this is over, when the council has paid for their crimes, he stops, something open and tender flickering in his face. I would ask you to think about coming back with me, taking your rightful place as the last lunar priestess, helping me rebuild what was broken. The softness in his voice unveils feelings I've been fighting since he first appeared at my door. In the span of a few short days, this man, this king, has woken something inside me that I thought long dead. Hope. Yet fear coils alongside it. I know nothing of your world, Alaric. I've spent my life alone, feared by humans. What place could I possibly have among your kind? His fingers trace the curve of my jaw, sending warmth rushing through me. The place that has waited for you since your birth. The empty space left when the council killed your ancestors. The empty throne beside mine. Before I can answer, he leans forward and presses his lips to mine. The kiss is gentle, asking, yet it lights something wild inside me. My hands find their way to his shoulders, pulling him closer as the moonlight bathes us in silver. When we part, breathless, the world seems changed colors more bright, smells more strong, as if some sleeping part of me has finally woken. I have waited lifetimes for you, he whispers against my lips. I can wait a little longer. Dawn finds us at the edge of a valley, where stone homes blend perfectly with the mountainside. People come out to greet us, people with eyes that catch the morning light like shiny gems, who bow deeply to Alaric and look at me with wonder I don't understand. An old woman steps forward, her silver hair braided with flowers and feathers. The lunar priestess returns to us, she says, taking my hands in her rough ones, just as the old songs promised. Alaric speaks quietly with the tribal leaders, while I stand confused, Lily holding tight to my skirts. When he returns to us, his face is grim. The council has declared open war, he says. I must leave right away. His eyes soften as they fall on Lily. He kneels before her, taking her small hands in his. Be brave, little one. Mind your manners for the priestess. Will you come back? She asks, bottom lip shaking. I swear it on the moon herself, he replies, touching her cheek gently. Then he rises to face me, and the mask of kingship falls away, leaving only the man I have come to care for more deeply than I dared admit even to myself. Return to me, I whisper, not caring who hears, as I grab his tunic. Whatever throne you speak of means nothing if you don't return. He pulls me against him, his heartbeat strong beneath my palms. Nothing in this world or the next could keep me from finding my way back to you, he vows. One last burning kiss, and he is gone, disappearing into the forest with a grace that isn't human, finally proving what I have guessed, that my Alaric is more than man, more than king. Watching him vanish into the trees, I feel as though he has taken a vital part of me with him. Seasons turn while we wait. Spring gives way to summer. Summer bows to fall. In the mountain village of the northern tribe, Lily blooms like a wildflower, running with the other children, learning their ways. The silver flecks in her eyes, once barely seen, grow more clear with each passing moon. I, too, find unexpected purpose here. The old woman, Elara, teaches me the forgotten rituals of my bloodline. Under her help, I learn to channel the moon's energy, to brew potions that ease the pain of changing, to read the ancient texts that speak of the time when Lycan and human lived in peace under the guidance of the lunar priestesses. Your grandma would be proud. Elara tells me one evening as we gather moonflowers. She never wanted to leave our ways, but she fell in love with a human man. Love makes wanderers of us all, in one way or another. Love. The word echoes in my heart, bringing with it Alaric's face, his voice, his touch, memories I visit each night as I gaze at the moon, and wonder if he too looks up at it, thinking of me. Messages come once in a while, carried by wolves who appear from the forest to bring scrolls written in Alaric's bold hand. Civil war has taken over the Lycan kingdom. The council fights hard to keep control. Alaric's forces grow stronger with each tribe that remembers the old ways, and joins his banner. Hold fast, his latest message reads. We are winning. Soon I will come for you both. Hope keeps me going through the darkening days, even as winter comes to the mountains with icy fingers. Then comes the night when everything changes. I wake to find Alara standing over my bed, her face serious in the candlelight. Visitors from the High Council have arrived, she says. They bring news and demands. In the village square, 3 figures wait, wrapped in gray, their faces hidden by deep hoods. The tallest steps forward as I approach. The lunar priestess, he says in a deep voice. We bring word from the capital. Speak then, I reply, standing tall with a pride I've learned from my time among these proud people. Alaric, the so-called Lycan king, has fallen in battle, the visitor announces. The rebellion has been crushed. The world tips beneath my feet. Alara's hand on my arm is all that keeps me standing. You lie, I whisper. The visitor pulls something from inside his cloak, a silver disc with a wolf's head carved on it that Alaric always wore against his heart. The council offers mercy to you and the child, the visitor continues. Return with us to the capital. Swear to obey the council. The girl will be placed with a good family, and you will be given a place worthy of your bloodline. Separated. My voice breaks on the word. In these months, Lily has become my child in all but blood. The girl's family line makes her too important to stay with an untested priestess, says the second visitor. This is the council's order. Alara's fingers dig into my arm in warning. And if she refuses? She asks. Then the northern tribe will be seen as rebels, same as their fallen king, the third visitor says coldly. The council's patience is not without end. My mind races. If Alaric has truly fallen, but no, something in my heart refuses to believe it. The link between us, made in those few precious days together, grown stronger through his letters, it still beats within me, faint but real. I need time to think, I say carefully. Such choices cannot be made in haste. You have until dawn, the tall visitor says. No longer. They go to the guest house, leaving me shaking with grief and anger. That night, I sit with Lily as she sleeps, watching the rise and fall of her small chest. Outside, the moon hangs full and heavy, its light streaming through the window to pool around us like liquid silver. I won't let them take you, I whisper, brushing a strand of hair from her head. I won't let his sacrifice be for nothing. My choice becomes clear. If Alaric has indeed fallen, then his dream, our dream, falls to me to fulfill. The council that killed my bloodline, that would separate me from the child I've come to love, that would rule through fear rather than wisdom they cannot be allowed to win. When Alara enters, I do not need to speak. She reads my decision in my eyes. The southern pass, she says simply. A guide will be waiting. The tribe will suffer for helping us. I worry. Alara's worn face creases in a fierce smile. The northern tribe remembers who their true king is. No matter what these council puppets claim, we will buy you time. Before dawn breaks, Lily and I slip away from the village, following a narrow path that winds through stands of old pine. Behind us, I hear the noise as our leaving is discovered, the angry shouts of the visitors. Where are we going? Lily asks, her small hand trustingly in mine as we hurry through the pre-dawn darkness. To find the truth, I tell her, and to keep a promise. The southern lands are a maze of deep valleys and forests, untamed by any hand, human or Lycan. Our guide, a quiet, scarred warrior named Thorn, leads us through hidden paths and secret valleys. He speaks little, but his love for Alaric is clear in every move he makes to protect us. The council lies, he tells me one night as we camp beneath a roof of stars. Our king lives. Hope flares in my chest. How do you know? Thorn taps his chest. The pack bond cannot be broken by death. we would all feel his passing. He looks at me with knowing eyes. As would you, priestess, if you welcomed the link that already exists between you. His words stay with me as we keep going south. Each night as Lily sleeps, I sit beneath the moon and reach inside, looking for the thin thread that ties my soul to Alaric's. At first, I find only silence. Then, on the seventh night, as the moon hangs full and perfect overhead, I sense it, a far-off beat, weak but steady. Alive. He's alive. 3 days later, we reach our goal, a series of caves hidden behind a waterfall, where the sound of rushing water covers all other noises. Inside, torches light up a surprising scene, a makeshift war room, maps spread across rough-cut tables, weapons stacked against walls, warriors coming and going with urgent messages. And at the center of it all, leaning hard on a staff, his face thin, but his eyes burning with the same fire, I remember Alaric. Our eyes lock across the crowded cave. The talks around him fade as he stands up straight, joy and disbelief fighting on his face. You came, he whispers, the words carrying to me despite the waterfall's roar. I move toward him as if in a dream, Lily's hand still held in mine. The warriors part before us, bowing their heads with respect. When I reach him, words fail me. My free hand rises on its own to touch his face, tracing the new scar that runs from temple to jaw. They told me you had fallen, I say finally. I nearly did. His hand covers mine, pressing my palm more firmly against his cheek. The council's killers left me for dead, if not for loyal friends who found me. He glances at Thorn, who nods slightly. Your wolf disc, taken while I lay knocked out, a prize for the council. Anger flashes in his eyes, quickly replaced by softness as he looks down at Lily. You protected her, as you protected us. I swallow hard, feelings threatening to overflow me. The council came to the northern tribe. They would have split us up, used her for their plans. So you ran. Pride colors his voice. My brave priestess. I refuse to believe you were gone. I admit. Even when they showed me proof, something in me knew it was false. Alaric's gaze grows stronger. The bond between us, you felt it. Yes. The truth costs me nothing here in this moment of finding each other again. I felt it. He pulls me against him then, Lily caught between us in a hug that feels like coming home after a lifetime of wandering. His lips find mine in a kiss that speaks of relief and longing and promises kept. When we part, the cave has emptied quietly, leaving us alone with our reunion. Alaric leads us to a smaller room where furs create a cozy sitting area around a small fire. The council has ruled through lies for generations. He tells me, as Lily dozes against my side, what they told you about my death was just their latest trick. But there is a greater truth they have hidden, one that involves both you and Lily. What truth? Alaric takes my hands in his. The bloodline of the lunar priestesses was not wiped out because they feared your power over Lycans. That was only part of it. He stops, picking his words with care. They feared the prophecy that a lunar priestess and a Lycan king would together have a child who would unite our worlds and end the council's rule forever. I stare at him, understanding slowly dawning. And Lily? Is my brother's child, he says gently. My brother's child, born of his joining with a woman of unusual gifts. Not a lunar priestess by blood, but something equally rare. The council killed them both when they found the child existed, but not before my brother managed to send her away with a trusted servant. The bad men, Lily murmurs sleepily, showing she isn't as deeply asleep as we thought. They hurt my papa and mama. Alaric strokes her hair tenderly. Yes, little one, but they can never hurt you again. Not while I draw breath. He looks back to me, his gaze intense. Not while either of us draws breath. The weight of truth settles around us. So the council fears Lily because of who her parents were, and they fear you because of who you are, the last true lunar priestess. And more. He stops, something open and raw flickering in his face. They fear what we might become together. The meaning hangs between us, unspoken, yet unmissable. The empty throne beside yours, I whisper. Yes. His thumb draws circles on my palm. But I would not have you take it out of duty or need. These months apart have been. He struggles for words. This powerful king who commands armies with ease. I have thought of you every day, every night. Your strength, your kindness, your unshaking courage. If you choose to stand beside me, I want it to be because your heart calls you there, as mine calls me to you. The truth rises within me, undeniable as the moon itself. My heart has known no peace since you left, I confess. It beats only to the rhythm of your name. Relief and joy wash over his face. Then when this war is won, and it will be won, I would claim you as my queen, if you would have me. I would have you now, war or no war, I say boldly, surprising myself with my boldness. The future is uncertain. Tonight is ours. His eyes darken with desire, but he shakes his head with regret. Not yet. There is one last truth you must know before you pledge yourself to me completely. Rising, he moves toward the cave entrance, where moonlight spills through a high crack. As the silver light touches his skin, a change begins subtle at first, then unmistakable. His form shifts, muscles rippling beneath his tunic, features growing longer, hands curving into powerful claws. Where Alaric stood moments before, a magnificent creature now gazes at me with the same amber eyes, part wolf, part man, radiating power and ancient majesty. This is who I am, his voice rumbles, deeper but still his. This is what it means to be Lycan king, to rule over those who shift between forms as easily as humans change clothes, to be neither fully beast nor fully man, but something in between. I should feel fear. Any normal person would. Instead, I feel only wonder and a sense of rightness, as if a puzzle piece long missing has finally found its place. Rising, I cross to him, my hand stretched out. He remains perfectly still as my fingers touch the coarse fur of his face, trace the proud line of his muzzle. Beautiful, I whisper. His great head dips in disbelief. You do not fear me? How could I fear a part of you that has always been there? I ask simply. I have loved you in one form. I can love you in another. Beside us, Lily stirs, opening sleepy eyes to the sight of her uncle in his Lycan form. Rather than fear, her face lights with recognition. Wolfman, she says with a child's simple acceptance, holding out her arms to be lifted. Alaric's warm laugh comes out as he gently scoops her up. She burrows against his fur as naturally as she would against my shoulder. In this moment, something clicks into place, a vision of what could be. Not just the two of us, but the three of us. A family made not by blood alone, but by choice, by love, by shared purpose. The council will come for us, I say, practical despite the feeling of the moment. They'll throw everything they have against us to prevent the prophecy. Alaric's massive head nods in agreement. They will, but they will fail. In the moonlight, his eyes gleam with certainty. Because they fight only for power. We fight for something greater. For each other, I say. My hand finding his, fingers twining with clawed digits that hold me with endless gentleness. For love, he agrees. And love, my priestess, is the most powerful magic of all. As the night deepens around us, we three, the last lunar priestess, the Lycan king, and the child who bridges our worlds, sit together in the silver glow of the moon. Tomorrow will bring its own battles. Tonight, we have found each other. Tonight, we are whole. Dawn breaks with the promise of hard choices. The war council gathers in the main cave, warriors with scars and wary eyes, studying maps and planning battles. I sit at Alaric's right hand, still dizzy from all I have learned, from the changes that have swept through my quiet life like a storm. The Council's forces have regrouped at the Western Pass, says Thorn, pointing to a spot on the worn map. They outnumber us, 3-1. Numbers aren't everything, Alaric replies, his voice steady with the calm of a born leader. We have the loyalty of the forest tribes. They know the land better than any council soldier. The warriors nod, but I see the worry in their eyes. 3-1 are bad odds, even for the bravest fighters. What of the northern tribes? I ask. Will they stand with us? A heavy silence falls. Alara risked much to help us escape. The northern tribes may already be paying the price for their loyalty. We sent scouts, Thorn says finally. We wait for word. Alaric's hand finds mine beneath the rough wooden table. His touch anchors me as the talk turns to battle plans, to strategies I barely understand. This world of war and power struggles is so far from my quiet life of herbs and healing. After the council ends, Alaric leads me through a narrow passage to a ledge overlooking a hidden valley. Below, I can see Lycan warriors training, their movements a blur of speed and grace as they shift between human and wolf forms. This fight isn't yours, Alaric says suddenly, his amber eyes troubled as they search my face. You and Lily could go further south, to the coastal tribes. They would keep you safe until this is over. And if it's never over, I challenge. If the council wins? His jaw tightens. They won't. You can't be sure of that. I step closer to him, needing him to understand. My whole life I've hidden. I've been afraid. I've let others define who and what I am. I place my palm against his chest, feeling the strong beat of his heart. I won't hide anymore. Whatever comes, we face it together. Pride and worry war in his expression. The council fears the prophecy above all else. If they capture you, they won't. I echo his words back to him, with a smile that feels braver than I am. That night, as Lily sleeps in our small cave chamber, Alaric and I sit by the fire, planning for what may come. He will lead the main force against the council's army at dawn. I will stay with the healers, tending to the wounded. There is something I must give you, Alaric says, pulling a small leather pouch from inside his tunic. From it, he draws a necklace, a silver disc, much like the one the council stole. But this one bears the image of a wolf howling at a crescent moon. This was my mother's. It marks the wearer as under royal protection. He places it around my neck, his fingers brushing my skin and sending shivers down my spine. The disc rests just above my heart, cool at first but quickly warming to my skin. It's beautiful, I whisper. It's more than ornament. His voice is serious. If we are separated, if something happens to me, show this to any Lycan. They will know you speak with my voice. His hand cups my cheek. Promise me you'll keep yourself and Lily safe, above all else. I want to argue, to tell him nothing will happen to him, but the worry in his eyes stops me. I promise, I say instead. He pulls me to him then, his kiss desperate, with all we haven't said. We cling to each other in the firelight, stealing these precious moments while we can. Morning comes too soon. The cave hums with activity as warriors prepare for battle. Alaric dons light armor, the planes of his face set in grim lines. I help him secure the leather breastplate, my fingers lingering over the scar where the council's blade nearly took him from me. Return to me, I whisper, echoing the words I spoke when we parted at the northern tribe. No matter what happens, return to me. Always, he vows, pressing his forehead to mine. In this life or the next, I will find my way back to you. Lily wakes as he's about to leave. She runs to him, her small arms wrapping around his legs. Don't go, she pleads. Alaric kneels before her, bringing himself to her level. I must, little one. To make a world where you can grow up without fear. He touches the tip of her nose gently. Watch over your mother while I'm gone. Mother. The word makes my heart twist. In these months, that's what I've become to this child, though no blood ties us. I will, Lily promises solemnly. I'll be brave. I know you will. He rises, his eyes meeting mine one last time, filled with all we haven't had time to say. Then he turns and strides toward the cave entrance, where his warriors wait. I watch him go, the Lycan king in all his power, and try to burn the image into my memory, just in case. The day passes with agonizing slowness. I work with the healers, preparing bandages and medicines, trying to keep my mind from imagining what might be happening on the battlefield. Lily stays by my side, unusually quiet, her small face solemn. As the sun begins to sink, the first wounded return warriors with gashes and broken limbs who limp or are carried into the caves. I throw myself into caring for them, grateful for the work that keeps my hands busy and my thoughts at bay. How goes the battle? I ask one of the less injured fighters as I bind his arm. The king fights like 10 men, he says, pride in his voice despite his pain. But the council brought silver weapons. Many have fallen. Fear clutches at my heart, but I push it aside. I cannot help Alaric by giving in to worry. Instead, I focus on what I can do. Heal his people, keep Lily safe, be the priestess he believes me to be. Night falls, and still more wounded arrive. The caves echo with groans and the healer's quiet instructions. Lily eventually falls asleep on a pile of furs in the corner of the healing cave, exhausted by the day's stress. I'm bent over a young warrior with a deep chest wound when a commotion at the cave entrance draws my attention. Warriors rush in, carrying a still form on a makeshift stretcher. My heart stops as I glimpse familiar, dark hair matted with blood. Alaric! I cry, rushing forward. But it isn't him. It's Thorn, his loyal captain, barely clinging to life, his chest torn by what could only be a silver-tipped spear. My lady, he gasps as I kneel beside him. The king, surrounded, told me to bring you this. His trembling hand extends toward me, something clutched in his fingers. I take it, a small wooden token carved with a map. On the back, scratched hastily, are the words, Eastern Caves, go now. What happened? I demand, even as I begin treating his wounds. Where is Alaric? Ambush, Thorn manages between labored breaths. Council forces, more than we thought. The king ordered me to return, to get you and the child to safety. Cold dread washes over me. And the king? Thorn's eyes slide away from mine. Fighting, to buy us time. Understanding dawns, terrible and clear, just as he did at the northern tribe. Just as he's done since the moment he appeared at my door with Lily in his arms. We have to help him, I insist. Gather the warriors who can still fight. No. Thorn's hand grips my wrist with surprising strength. The king gave his order. You and the child must survive. The prophecy must survive. Prophecy. Always the prophecy. But what good is a prophecy if Alaric doesn't live to see it fulfilled? I look around at the wounded warriors, at the handful of fighters still standing. Even if we gathered everyone who could hold a weapon, we would be too few to turn the tide of battle. How long do we have? I ask, my voice strangely calm, though my heart is breaking. Not long, Thorn admits. Council forces move through the forest as we speak. I make my choice then, though it tears me apart. Wake the child, I tell the nearest healer. Gather only what we can carry. We leave in 10 minutes. As the cave erupts into quiet but urgent activity, I step outside onto the ledge, looking toward the battlefield we cannot see. Somewhere out there, Alaric fights for us. Somewhere out there, he may already be. No, I won't think it. I can still feel our bond thin but present. He lives. Hold fast, my love, I whisper to the night. I will keep my promise, and one day I will find my way back to you. The pendant he gave me seems to pulse against my skin, a reminder of all he has entrusted to me. I touch it once, then turn back to the cave, to Lily, to the future we must protect, even at the cost of our hearts. It is time to run again. The eastern caves wind through mountains where even the bravest Lycans rarely venture. Cold seeps into my bones as I carry a sleeping Lily through narrow passages, following the old healer who knows these secret paths. Behind us come the wounded who can travel, and the few warriors still able to fight. We move in silence, each lost in their own grief and fear. 3 days pass in this half-world of stone and shadow. I barely speak, saving my strength for the journey, and for holding back the tears that threaten whenever I think of Alaric. At night, when Lily sleeps curled against me for warmth, I reach through our bond, stretching my newly awakened senses to their limit. Each time, I feel him distant, weak, but alive. This small comfort is all that keeps me moving forward. On the 4th day, we emerge into a hidden valley nestled between towering peaks. A small village of stone huts sits beside a clear mountain lake, smoke rising from cooking fires. Children stop their play to stare as we approach. Adults come forward, faces cautious but not unwelcoming. The Eastern tribe, our guide explains. They've stayed apart from Lycan politics for generations. The council has no power here. An elderly woman with silver-streaked hair approaches us, her eyes widening as they fall on me. Then, on the royal pendant at my throat, the lunar priestess, she murmurs, dropping into a deep bow. And the child of prophecy, the signs spoke true. Word spreads quickly. Soon we are led to the largest building in the village, a round stone hall with a fire pit at its center. Food is brought, beds prepared, healers summoned for our wounded. The Eastern tribe's hospitality is as generous as their curiosity is intense. They watch Lily and me with barely concealed awe. They've waited for your coming, explains Mira, a young woman assigned to help us settle in. Our seers foresaw it a season ago. That is why we prepared. Prepared, I ask. The first word I've spoken in days. Mira gestures to the storehouses visible through the doorway. Food for many months. Weapons. Healing herbs. We knew dark times approached. That night, as Lily sleeps peacefully for the first time since our flight, the Eastern tribe's elders gather to hear our tale. I tell them of Alaric, of the council's treachery, of the war that even now rages in the western forests. They listen in grave silence. We offer sanctuary, says the eldest, a man named Tomar, whose eyes reflect the firelight like polished amber. For as long as you need it. And what do you ask in return? I question, wary after so much betrayal. Tomar exchanges glances with the other elders. Only that when the time comes, you remember who sheltered you. That when the prophecy is fulfilled, the Eastern tribe will have a place in the new world. Relief washes through me. No demands for Lily, no talk of separating us, just sanctuary when we need it most. You have my word, I tell them, my hand resting on the royal pendant, and the word of the king. Days blend into weeks, weeks into months. Spring arrives in the high valley, turning the slopes green with new growth. Lily thrives among the Eastern children, learning their games and customs. I work with their healers, sharing my knowledge of herbs while learning their mountain remedies. At night, I reach for Alaric through our bond, taking comfort in the faint pulse that tells me he still lives, somewhere far from us. Then comes the morning when a scout races into the village, breathless with urgent news. Riders approach from the west, he reports to Tomar. They wear the silver badges of the High Council, Fear spikes through me. How did they find us? The Eastern tribe was supposed to be unknown to the council. How many? Tomar asks, his voice steady though his eyes betray his concern. A dozen? No more. They carry a white banner of truce. Murmurs spread through the gathered villagers. A truce banner means the riders come to talk, not fight. But can the council's word be trusted? Bring the priestess's child to the safe caves, Tomar orders. Prepare our warriors, but keep them hidden. Let us hear what these council messengers have to say. I grab Lily's hand, my heart pounding. I'll take her myself. No. Tamar's voice is kind but firm. You must meet these messengers as the lunar priestess. Show no fear. Mira will guard the child with her life. Reluctantly, I kneel before Lily. Go with Mira, little one. It's like a game of hide and seek. Stay quiet until I come for you. Her eyes, so much wiser than her years, search mine. The bad men are back? Perhaps, but they won't find you, I promise. I kiss her forehead, breathing in her sweet scent, then watch as Mira leads her away toward the hidden caves at the back of the valley. I stand at Tomar's side as the council riders enter the village. Their leader, a tall woman with ice-blue eyes and hair pulled severely back from her face, dismounts and approaches us. I am Seraphina, voice of the High Council, she announces. We come seeking the child known as Lily, niece of the traitor Alaric and the woman who harbors her. You find only the Eastern tribe here, Tomar replies smoothly. We take no part in Lycan politics. Seraphina's cold gaze shifts to me, lingering on the royal pendant at my throat. And yet you shelter the last lunar priestess. I shelter where I am welcome, I reply, drawing on a courage I didn't know I possessed. What does the council want with me and an innocent child? The council offers peace, Seraphina says. The war has dragged on too long. Too much blood has been spilled. Blood spilled by the council's blades. I counter. A tight smile crosses her face. The past cannot be changed, but the future is still unwritten. She reaches into her cloak and withdraws a scroll sealed with silver wax. The council proposes a compromise. The child will be raised in the capital, educated as befits her station. You will be given a position of honor as a priestess in the temple, both of you under the council's protection. And in return, you renounce all ties to the rebel king. You use your influence to end this wasteful war. The rebel king. Even now, they cannot bring themselves to speak Alaric's name, to acknowledge his rightful place. And if I refuse, Seraphina's smile vanishes. Then the Eastern tribe will learn why it was wise to stay out of Lycan politics until now. A threat, thinly veiled. I feel Tomar stiffen beside me. The council outnumbers the rebels 10-1, Seraphina continues. Even now, our forces close in on the last rebel stronghold. Your king cannot protect you. He can barely protect himself. Her words strike me like physical blows, but I force my face to remain calm. I will consider your offer, I say, taking the scroll without opening it. You have 3 days, Seraphina replies. We will camp beyond the western ridge and await your answer. When they have gone, Tomar turns to me with troubled eyes. What will you do? I clutch the scroll, my mind racing. I don't know. I need to think. That night, I sit alone by the lake's edge, the moonlight dancing across the still water. The council scroll lies unopened beside me. I don't need to read it to know its contents are poison dressed as honey. I reach once more for my bond with Alaric, stretching my senses toward the west, seeking that familiar pulse. For the first time in months, I feel nothing. The space where his presence should be is empty. Panic rises within me. Has he fallen at last, or is the distance simply too great? Alaric, I whisper to the night, give me a sign. Tell me what to do. The moon's reflection shivers on the lake's surface. as a breeze passes. In its rippling light, I see a vision not of Alaric, but of Lily. Lily growing up in the council's grip, taught to fear her heritage, to deny her power. Lily used as a pawn in their games of control. Lily never knowing the truth of who she is, of who loved her enough to die for her. And I see myself, a priestess in name only, a puppet dancing to the council's commands, my powers channeled to serve their ends, my voice silenced when it speaks truths they don't wish to hear. Is this the future the prophecy foretold? Is this what Alaric fought for? My hands close around the royal pendant, feeling its warmth against my palm. No, this is not the path we were meant to walk. I rise, my decision made. Returning to the village, I seek out Tomar and the elders. The council offers a cage with golden bars, I tell them. I will not walk into it willingly. Tomar nods, as if he expected nothing less. Then we must prepare for war. The council will not take your refusal lightly. No, I agree, but neither will they find us easy prey. The next morning, I gather the Eastern warriors. Under my direction, they begin setting traps along the mountain paths, preparing defenses around the village. The healers brew potions that will heal our fighters and hinder our enemies. Everyone works with quiet determination, from the eldest to the youngest. When Seraphina returns in 3 days, she will find not a cowering priestess ready to surrender, but a united people prepared to defend their own. That night, I go to the hidden cave where Lily waits with Mira. The child runs to me, her small arms circling my neck as I kneel to embrace her. Are the bad people gone? She asks. Not yet, I tell her honestly. But they will never take you, I swear it. Her small hand touches my cheek, wiping away a tear I hadn't realized had fallen. Don't be sad, Mama. Uncle Alaric will come back, he promised. Her simple faith pierces my heart. Yes, I say, though I no longer feel him through our bond. He promised. As I hold her close, breathing in her sweet child scent, I make my own promise, silent but no less binding. Whatever comes, Lily will remain free. The council will not use her as they have used so many others. Even if it costs me everything, I will keep her safe. The Eastern tribe has given us sanctuary. Now we will stand with them against the storm that comes. 3 days pass in a blur of preparation. The Eastern tribe works without rest, transforming their peaceful village into a fortress. I teach them what I know of the council's tactics, while they share their mountain skills with me. Together, we create defenses that use the valley's natural features, its steep slopes, its hidden caves, its dense forests. Dawn breaks on the 3rd day with a blood-red sky. I stand on the ridge overlooking the western approach, Tomar at my side, watching as dust rises in the distance. They come in force, he observes, more than the dozen who brought their message. My hands tighten on the carved staff I now carry, a symbol of my position as both priestess and leader. They never planned to accept my answer if it wasn't surrender. The Eastern warriors take their positions as council forces appear on the horizon, 50 mounted soldiers at least, their armor gleaming silver in the morning light. At their head rides Seraphina, her face cold with purpose. They halt just beyond arrow range. Seraphina raises a hand, and a rider beside her lifts a white banner. A final offer of truce, though we all know it's only for show. I will speak with her, I tell Tamar. Buy us more time if I can. He nods, concern in his amber eyes. Be careful, priestess. Council vipers strike when you least expect it. I walk alone down the slope to the neutral ground between our forces. Seraphina dismounts to meet me, her movements fluid and graceful despite her heavy armor. You've made your choice then, she says without greeting. You choose war over peace. I choose freedom over chains, I reply. The council's offer was never peace. It was surrender. Her thin lips curve in what might be respect. You've grown bolder since your days hiding in that cottage at the forest's edge. Perhaps there is something of the lunar priestesses in you after all. Enough to know the council fears what I might become. The council fears nothing, she snaps, but I see the lie in her eyes. We seek only order, balance. The old ways led to chaos. The old ways honored both human and Lycan, I counter. The council honors only power. Her patience visibly thins. Your rebel king is beaten, his forces scattered. You stand with the tribe of mountain hermits against the might of the High Council. Surrender now, and we may yet show mercy to the child. At the mention of Lily, my anger flares. You will never touch her. Then you condemn her to death alongside yourself. Seraphina's hand falls to the silver sword at her hip. The council's patience is at an end. We attack at noon. I turn without another word, walking back up the slope to where Tamar waits. Behind me, I hear Seraphina remount, hear her barking orders to her soldiers. We have until noon, I tell Tamar. Make sure the elders and children are secure in the deep caves. The morning passes with tense waiting. I check our defenses one last time, then join Mira in the hidden cave where Lily and the other children wait. Will there be fighting? Lily asks, her small face solemn. I kneel before her, straightening the woolen cloak around her shoulders. Yes, little one, but you'll be safe here with Mira. The bad people won't find you. Her arms circle my neck in a fierce hug. I'm not afraid, she whispers. Uncle Alaric will come, and you're strong like he is. My heart twists at her faith. If only I were as strong as she believes. Listen to me, Lily, I say, holding her at arm's length to look into her eyes. No matter what happens today, know that you are loved. Your uncle loves you. I love you. That love is more powerful than any council, any army. She nods solemnly. I know, Mama. Mama. The name still makes my chest ache with a sweetness I never expected to know. I kiss her forehead, breathing in her scent one last time, then rise to face what comes. As the sun climbs toward its zenith, I take my place with the Eastern warriors. The staff in my hands hums with energy drawn from the full moon the night before. For weeks, I've practiced the forgotten arts Alara taught me, channeling the moon's power, strengthening our weapons, preparing healing potions that will keep our fighters strong. But will it be enough against Council silver and numbers? The attack begins with no warning. One moment, the Council forces wait at the edge of the valley. The next, they charge forward, weapons gleaming. Our archers loose their arrows, each shaft blessed by moonlight, finding gaps in silver armor. The first wave of attackers falters, but more come behind them. The battle blurs into chaos. I move among our warriors, my staff glowing silver blue with moon energy, healing where I can, lending strength where it's needed most. The training Alara gave me, combined with my own healer's knowledge, makes me more useful on the battlefield than I ever imagined possible. Yet the Council forces keep coming. Our traps thin their numbers. Our fighters hold the line, but we are outnumbered. Slowly, we're forced to give ground, falling back toward the village. As the sun begins its downward arc, I find myself fighting alongside Tomar near the central square. We're both bloodied, both tiring, but neither willing to yield. We can't hold much longer, he admits between labored breaths. There are too many. I look around at our dwindling forces, at the wounded being carried to the caves, at the Council soldiers pressing closer. He's right. We've fought bravely, but we're losing. Then I hear a sound that freezes the blood of every fighter in the square. A howl, deep and commanding, echoing from the northern ridge. Then another answers from the east and another from the west. Soon the air vibrates with a chorus of howls that seem to come from everywhere at once. The Council soldiers falter, looking around in confusion. Seraphina, her silver armor now dented and stained with blood, raises her sword and shouts for her forces to stand firm. But the howling grows louder, and now we can see them wolves pouring over the ridges from all sides, hundreds of them, their coats gleaming in the afternoon sunday. Not ordinary wolves, Lycans in their wolf forms, moving with purpose and deadly grace. The tribes, Tamar whispers in awe. All of them. At their head, larger than the others, a black wolf with eyes like burning amber races down the slope. The council forces break formation, some fleeing, others trying to form a defensive circle. But they're surrounded, cut off from escape. The black wolf leaps into the village square, shifting in midair. Where the wolf lands, Alaric stands, magnificent in his battle-scarred glory, his eyes finding mine across the chaos. "My king!" cries an Eastern warrior, dropping to one knee. Others follow, even as the battle continues around us. Seraphina snarls in fury, driving her soldiers forward with shouts and threats. But the tide has turned. The united Lycan tribes flow into the village like a river of fur and fang, overwhelming the council forces with sheer numbers. I fight my way toward Alaric, my heart pounding with joy and disbelief. He is alive. He is here. The bond that went silent has flared back to blazing life, pulsing between us like a second heartbeat. We reach each other in the center of the square, as fighting rages around us. For one heartbeat, we simply stare, drinking in the sight of each other. Then his arms are around me, crushing me against his chest, his lips finding mine in a kiss that tastes of blood and victory and homecoming. "You came." I breathe against his mouth. "Did you doubt I would?" His voice is rough with emotion. "I would tear down the walls of the council's fortress stone by stone to find you. I couldn't feel you through our bond, I confess. I feared. The council's mages," he explains quickly. "They found ways to block the bond temporarily, but nothing could break it completely." His hand cups my cheek, thumb brushing away a smear of blood. "Where is Lily?" "Safe in the deep caves. She never lost faith in you, even when mine wavered." A smile breaks across his face, transforming it from fierce to tender. "She is her father's daughter." At my confused look, he adds, "There's much to explain. But first, we end this." Together, we turn to face Seraphina, who stands alone now, as the last of her soldiers are captured or driven off. Her sword hangs limply in her hand, her face a mask of disbelief. "How?" she demands. "The rebellion was crushed. The tribes scattered." "The tribes were gathering," Alaric corrects her, "building alliances, remembering old bonds. The council saw what it expected to see defeat where there was strategic retreat." He steps forward, every inch the Lycan king despite his battle-worn appearance. "The council's rule is ended, Seraphina. The tribes have spoken with one voice." She raises her sword in a last act of defiance, but a dozen Lycan warriors surround her, teeth bared. Seeing the futility of resistance, she lets the weapon fall. "The council will never accept a Lycan king who consorts with a half-breed priestess," she spits, "or a mongrel child with mixed blood." Alaric's smile is cold. The council no longer has a choice. As Seraphina is led away, Alaric turns back to me, his face softening. "Take me to our daughter," he says softly. "Let me see with my own eyes that she is safe. Our daughter." The words sing through me like a blessing. Hand in hand, we walk toward the caves where Lily waits, while around us, the united tribes begin the work of healing, of rebuilding, of forging a new future from the ashes of the old. The prophecy is unfolding at last. 3 years later, I stand on the wide stone balcony of the palace, looking out over a city changed by time and care. Where once stood cold stone buildings with high walls, now rise beautiful structures of wood and glass that welcome the light. Gardens bloom where people were once punished. In the big square below, humans and Lycans mix freely, their children playing together without fear. The warm evening breeze catches my ceremonial robes silver and blue, the colors of the lunar priestesses making them dance around my ankles. The circlet on my head, set with moon-colored stones that catch the fading light, no longer feels strange or heavy. Behind me, the doors to our rooms open. Alaric steps out, tall and kingly in his formal clothes. 3 years as High King of the United Lands has added silver strands to his dark hair, but his eyes remain as bright, as loving as the day he returned to me from the edge of death. The visitors from the eastern lands have arrived, he says, coming to stand beside me. His hand finds mine, our fingers twining together with practiced ease. Their led female asks just for your blessing on their new babies. I smile, still amazed at how my once feared gifts have become wanted, how the powers that drove me into hiding have become a bridge between worlds. I'll see them after the council meeting. How are the new students? He asks, nodding toward the temple visible from our balcony, a shining building where I train young women and men who show the silver-flecked eyes of the moon-touched. They learn quickly. Alara says this is the most promising group she's seen in many years. His thumb traces circles on my palm, a touch of love that still sends warmth flowing through me. And our daughter? As if called by his words, Lily bursts through the doors, now 8 years old and full of life. Her silver-flecked eyes, so like mine, sparkle with joy. Mother, father, Thorn is teaching me to track by smell, and I found a rabbit hole all by myself. She throws herself at Alaric, who catches her easily and swings her up onto his shoulders. Did you really? He asks, pride clear in his voice. Perhaps you'll lead the hunt when you're older. I reach up to smooth her wild hair, marveling at how naturally the word mother falls from her lips, how fully she has become ours in heart, if not in blood. Don't fill her head with hunting stories before the big dinner, I scold gently. The human visitors are still getting used to our ways. Lily giggles, not worried about grown-up concerns. Ambassador Chen likes me. He gave me sweet plums last time. Because you charmed him with your knowledge of eastern stars, Alaric reminds her. A skill your mother taught you. A warm glow spreads through my chest at his words. 3 years of peace have not dulled the wonder I feel at having found my place in this world, not as an outcast, but as a queen, a priestess, a mother, a wife. As the first stars appear in the darkening sky, a howl rises from the forests beyond the city walls, the evening song of the wild Lycans who choose to live in their wolf forms. One by one, answering calls echo through the city, as those living among us acknowledge their wilder kin. Alaric's eyes gleam with amber fire as he tilts his head back and adds his voice to the chorus, the deep, strong call of the alpha that sends shivers down my spine even now. Lily joins him, her child's howl surprisingly strong. They look at me expectantly. 3 years ago, I would have shrunk from such a display. The woman who hid in her cottage at the edge of the Blackwood would have pulled her hood lower and hurried inside, away from judging eyes. But I am no longer that woman. Taking a deep breath, I let my own howl rise to join theirs, not as powerful as Alaric's, not as natural as Lily's, but distinctly mine. The silver flecks in my eyes catch the moonlight as my voice soars toward the heavens. From the city below, people pause in their evening activities to listen. Some smile, some join in, the sound building into a song of belonging that spreads from the palace to the farthest reaches of the kingdom. When the song fades, Alaric pulls me against him, his lips finding mine in a kiss that still holds all the passion of our first embrace. Lily makes a show of covering her eyes, though her fingers part so she can peek through them, giggling. I never imagined this life, I whisper against his mouth. Never dared to dream I could find not just being accepted, but love. Your so-called weakness was always your greatest strength. He replies, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. Your kindness, your compassion, your ability to see beyond shapes, to the heart beneath these are the gifts that healed a kingdom. Our kingdom, I correct him, as Lily squirms to be included in our hug. We fold her between us. This child who brought us together, this family we have made through choice and love. Beyond the palace walls, the city settles into evening rhythms. Humans and Lycans move through streets lit by lamps that glow with moonstone light, another creation born of our joined knowledge. In homes and meeting places, stories are told of the dark days before the return of the lunar priestess, of the cruelty of the council, of the king who defied death to reclaim his throne, and the priestess who turned her loneliness into strength. Our story has become legend already, though we still live it each day. The council's fear was their downfall, Alaric muses, his arm solid around my waist as we turned to go inside. They feared what would happen if humans and Lycans truly understood each other, if the walls between our kinds fell. They never imagined we would be stronger together than apart. I agree. Watching as Lily runs ahead of us, eager for the evening meal and the stories that will follow, that what they tried to stop would become their undoing, and that what they most feared, a lunar priestess who embraced her gifts, a Lycan king who chose love over tradition, and a child who belongs to both worlds, would create a future brighter than either world could achieve alone. As we step into the warm light of our rooms, I pause for one last look at the moon rising full and bright above our kingdom. Once I cursed the silver flecks in my eyes, the strange powers that marked me as different. Now I recognize them as gifts, keys that unlocked not just my own strength, but the possibility of harmony between worlds long divided. The door closes behind us, but the moonlight follows, streaming through windows made to welcome it. In this palace, no shadows are feared, no differences rejected. In this kingdom, those once pushed out have found their home. And I, who lived alone for years, until the Lycan king knocked on my door seeking shelter, have found something I never dared to seek. A life changed not by magic, but by the simplest, most powerful force of all the courage to love and be loved in return. In the great hall, the tribe leaders wait to begin the evening's council. Among them sit humans too, merchants, scholars, diplomats, all part of the new world we are building together. At the center of the long table are 3 thrones, the kings, the queens, and between them, a smaller seat for the child of prophecy. As we enter, the gathered leaders rise, bowing deeply. Lily takes her place between us, her small back straight with pride. Alaric and I exchange a glance over her head, sharing a silent moment of gratitude for all that has brought us to this point. "Let the council begin," Alaric announces, his voice carrying to the far corners of the hall. "For we have much to discuss and a future to build." Outside, the moon rises higher, bathing our kingdom in silver light. The same moon that once witnessed my lonely vigils now shines down on a world transformed not by power or fear, but by understanding, by acceptance, by love. The prophecy has been fulfilled, but our story is far from over. It continues with each child born with silver-flecked eyes, with each human who chooses to see beyond appearances, with each Lycan who embraces their dual nature without shame. It continues with us, the outcast, who found her voice, the king who found his heart, and the child who brought them together. 3 unlikely souls who formed a family stronger than blood, a love powerful enough to change the world. And in the quiet moments, when the weight of rulership rests heavy on our shoulders, we 3 slip away to the forest. There, under the watching moon, Alaric shifts to his wolf form, magnificent and wild. Lily rides on his back, laughing with delight, while I walk beside them, my hand buried in his dark fur. In these moments, we are simply ourselves, not king and queen and princess, but family, bound not by duty or prophecy, but by choice, by love freely given and gladly received. This is our true legacy, not the changed kingdom, not the falling walls between peoples, but the simple truth we live each day, that love is stronger than fear, that difference need not divide, that what others see as weakness may in fact be our greatest strength. And as the moon watches over us, as the stars wheel overhead, as the future unfolds before us one day at a time, I know this with certainty: I am no longer alone, and never will be again.